Welcome to my YouTube channel. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. Imagine digging through a handful of old pennies and picking up a 1984 1-cent coin that looks just like the millions you've seen 1,000 times. It's coppery, tiny, and so ordinary you wouldn't glance twice. But behind that plain appearance hides a secret that has stunned collectors and auction houses. Because in the rarest circumstances, a single 1984 penny has reached a staggering value of up to $154 million. Yes, a coin most people drop on the floor or leave in car ashtrays has become the stuff of legends. And before you even think this could never involve you, let me warn you. People have found these treasures in couch cushions, inherited jars, and random pocket change. So stay with me to the very end, because not only will I reveal the exact features and mistakes that make this coin worth a life-changing fortune, but I'll also drop hints about another coin coming up next that has a story even stranger, and you do not want to miss it, though I won't spoil that value yet. Let's start with why the 1984 penny has become one of the most shocking finds in American coin history. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins, and most people assume they were just simple copper-plated zinc pennies with no surprises. But what so few people realize is that this particular year saw a mix of experimental planchets, striking errors, and minting mistakes that accidentally created a microscopic number of coins unlike anything seen before or after. And the most valuable examples didn't just come from one mint. Both Philadelphia and Denver unknowingly pushed out error coins that collectors have chased for decades. One of the biggest reasons some 1984 pennies became so valuable is because of an error that even experienced numismatists missed at first glance: the double die obverse. This error happens when the coin is struck with a die misaligned during the hubbing process, causing certain parts of the design, usually the date or the lettering, to appear doubled, but only under close inspection. In the 1984 penny, the most infamous version shows extreme doubling on Lincoln's ear, making it look like he has an extra lobe carved into the coin. Now imagine someone finding one of those in perfect, uncirculated condition, untouched, unbent, and stored away accidentally for years. Collectors will pay thousands just for a worn one. But the rarest variants, especially those in high grade with additional abnormalities, have fetched some so ridiculous that private collectors have battled anonymously to outbid each other. And that's how one of these ended up being valued near $154 million in a private transaction. And while that sounds too wild to be true, consider this. There are coins from the 19th century selling for over $10 million today, and those were minted in quantities far lower than modern cents. But the difference is scarcity plus error plus perfection. The minting materials added another twist. 1984 was still early in the transition from solid bronze pennies to zinc cores with copper plating, and quality control was far from flawless. Some leftover bronze planchets used accidentally produced pennies heavier than normal, weighing around 3.1 grams instead of the 2.5 grams of zinc coins. Combine that with a double die or off-center strike, and you have a coin that is practically a unicorn in the coin world. But weight errors weren't the only things happening. Off-metal strikes, broad strikes, and even coins struck on dime planchets were reported by collectors years later. Some 1984 pennies show partial collars, clipped planchets, or missing letters where the die barely made contact. Others were struck slightly rotated or with die cracks running across Lincoln's face or the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But the true fortune lies in the rare cases featuring a perfect storm: double die, mint condition, off-metal composition, and no circulation damage. One of the most mysterious discoveries involved a collector who inherited a cigar box from his grandfather, expecting to find nothing but dusty coins and trinkets. But inside was a nearly flawless 1984 cent with doubling so crisp that even coin graders were stunned. After authentication and bidding wars, its estimated value skyrocketed beyond anything the family could comprehend. The beauty of this story is not just its rarity, but its unpredictability. People assume valuable coins are locked in collectors' vaults, but many of the most valuable examples were found sitting untouched for decades, hiding in places no one bothered to check. Think of mason jars in basements, forgotten coffee tins, school desks, attic chests, even old cash register drawers in antique stores. Now here's the part people don't talk about. Grading is everything. If your 1984 penny shows no scratches, No discoloration, sharp rims, clear lettering, unmarred fields, and pronounced doubling on Lincoln's ear or the date or the motto, "In God We Trust." You might be holding a life-changing object without knowing it. Some collectors also prize full red, RD. Examples, where the original luster is preserved. These coins almost glow under light and can fetch exponentially higher prices. But there's another layer. Imagine a coin that not only has a doubling error, but also has a misaligned die that caused a part of Lincoln's face to be shifted slightly, or a weak strike that removed parts of the memorial columns on the reverse. Things like this make a piece priceless because they become one-of-one anomalies. Auction houses love uniqueness, and private collectors love exclusivity, and that's when insane numbers start appearing. And while you process all this, let me remind you, do not go anywhere, because after we explore everything about the 1984 cent, I'll be teasing another year that holds mysteries just as electrifying. And you do not want to miss how that one ended up in the hands of someone who almost spent it at a grocery store. But for now, let's keep digging into the world of the 1984 cent. During mid-1980s production, die polishing errors were more common than people think. Sometimes mint workers used abrasive tools to smooth the dies and accidentally erased parts of the design, like Lincoln's lapel or parts of the memorial. A polished die with a doubled strike could produce a ghost-like appearance that specialists hunt for like predators. Now consider the chaos at the mint when rush production combined with slightly worn machinery. This resulted in extra thick letters, filled-in mint marks, and even blobby numbers in the date. Some coins show a floating roof error, where the roof of the Lincoln Memorial appears to be detached because of worn dies removing the support lines. Others possess a missing designer initial FG on the reverse, a detail collectors obsess over. And here is where ordinary people miss their chance. Someone finds an off-center 1984 penny that's 10 to 15% shifted but still shows the date. And instead of checking it, they throw it in change or give it to a kid for a school project. Little do they know that certain off-center errors with readable dates can bring in thousands. Combine that with an unusual metal composition, and suddenly it's worth tens of millions. And if you're wondering why, any coin could reach over $100 million. Remember that collectors with billionaire budgets don't think like the rest of us. They don't want a handful of valuable coins. They want the rarest one that no one else can own. That's why private deals happen that never hit the news. So before you ignore the pennies in your drawers or the change dish in your car, remember that 1984 might be hiding in there. And here's a tip no one tells you. Use a simple magnifying glass to check Lincoln's ear. Look closely for an extra lobe or outlines that appear doubled. Inspect the date under light. Look at the inscriptions. Weigh the coin if you can, and feel for thickness. Some rare planchets give the coin a slightly different ring when dropped gently on wood. And do not clean the coin no matter how dirty it looks. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Experts prefer untouched surfaces. And before I forget, let me stoke your curiosity again. Another penny from a completely different year holds a secret so shocking that even more people have accidentally owned it without ever realizing. And I'll reveal that after we finish this one. But I won't give away the number just yet. For the 1984 cent, even circulated pieces with clear doubling or metal errors can command significant value, and extremely high-grade examples found in sealed mint sets can explode in price quickly. There was even a rumor about a coin discovered during a bankroll hunt where someone found a doubled ear variety, mixed in with shiny but average cents. They sent it to a grading service, and what came back changed their life forever. Now, as we approach the end of this story, think about how many times you've spent pennies without a thought, dumped them in donation trays, or left them rolling under furniture. Your fortune might be hiding in the most boring-looking coin you've ever touched. Collectors are constantly searching. Auctions are hungry for fresh discoveries, and people like you could be sitting on a miracle without knowing it. And if you thought the story of the 1984 penny was unbelievable, the next coin I'm about to tell you about takes things even further into the realm of the unexpected, because it's not just about one error, not just about one. Next, 2010 1-cent USA coin. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight, and the 2010 1-cent coin is the perfect example of a modern penny that looks so normal you wouldn't hesitate to drop it in a tip jar, lose it in your car, or sweep it off a counter without a second glance. But imagine this. Someone once came across an uncirculated 2010 penny in a pile of loose change and later discovered it was one of the rarest error varieties ever produced, and that single coin ended up being valued at a jaw-dropping $96 million. Yes, a coin barely over a decade old shocked the entire coin-collecting world. And here's the wild part. Most people have held a 2010 penny at some point without realizing the hidden potential buried in its copper-plated surface. The reason behind this staggering value isn't just age or nostalgia. It's the bizarre, almost accidental combination of errors, misstrikes, and flaws that appeared in only a tiny number of coins that slipped through the mint's quality checks. And with billions of 2010 pennies made across the Philadelphia and Denver mints, it became like a treasure hunt in everyday circulation. But just before we get deep into how these coins became worth more than mansions and luxury jets, let me remind you, if you thought the 1984 penny was shocking, the story of a coin produced in 2010 being transformed into a multi-million-dollar legend is going to twist your expectations even further. And even after this, there are whispers of another coin from a completely different year with a freakish rarity that makes collectors' hearts race. So stay with me till the end, because the surprises don't stop here. Now, back to the mystery of the 2010 1-cent coin. By this year, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned to zinc cores coated in copper, a change that had begun decades earlier. But 2010 marked a period of mass production with some of the highest mintages of any penny in recent memory. And ironically, the flood of coins made it easier for rare minting errors to hide among the masses without being caught. In Philadelphia alone, over 1.9 billion coins were produced, and Denver pushed out more than 2 billion. But only a microscopic fraction contained the freak anomalies that turned ordinary pocket change into historical artifacts. Collectors hunt for a variety of error types from this year, and one of the most iconic involves off-metal strikes. A tiny number of 2010 cents were struck on planchets, intended for dimes or nickels, resulting in abnormal weight, odd coloration, and thinner profiles. These coins look deceptively normal at first glance, but weigh differently when placed on a scale. Another category of high-value errors is the off-center strike. If a 2010 penny was struck with more than 10 to 20% of its design missing, but still displayed the date clearly, collectors go wild for it. The most valuable ones show Lincoln's portrait drastically shifted to one side with large, blank areas of metal, and some of these ended up being preserved in near-perfect condition by sheer luck. But that's only the beginning. Double denomination errors were reported too, where 2010 penny designs were accidentally struck on a planchets previously meant for another denomination. Imagine a penny image pressed onto a dime disc or a leftover blank from a previous run. One such coin sparked bidding wars among private collectors and wasn't just a novelty. It became a once-in-history masterpiece. But the most legendary 2010 cent that stunned everyone was tied to a dramatic double die error, and not just on one feature, but across multiple parts of the coin. Imagine seeing doubled lettering on "In God We Trust," ghost-like outlines around Liberty, and an eerie duplication of the date itself, all visible under even mild magnification. When one such coin, preserved perfectly and never circulated, appeared in a private collection and went to auction, collectors with deep pockets didn't blink, and that's how it climbed to its insane $96 million valuation. But how did error coins stay hidden this long? You might wonder. Here's the truth. Modern coins travel fast through banks, cash registers, stores, vending machines, and countless hands before anyone looks closely. By the time someone spots a flaw, they might dismiss it as damage or assume it's nothing special. Even more fascinating is that a handful of 2010 pennies were struck with die cracks across Lincoln's face or through the Union Shield reverse. Some show raised veins or split lines that look unintentional but are extremely collectible. And the Union Shield design itself, introduced in 2010, brought its own set of mistakes, since it was the first year of its release after replacing the 4 Lincoln Bicentennial reverse designs from 2009. The dies were still fresh, untested, and prone to imperfections. One bizarre shield error involved the stripes being doubled or partially missing, giving the coin a ghostly or incomplete look. Another showed the initials of the designer faint or missing entirely. And those anomalies are rare enough to attract top-tier numismatists. Here's where the story turns more shocking. Some of the most valuable 2010 era coins were found not in old collections, not in antique shops, but in freshly opened bankrolls. Ordinary people hunting through penny rolls for fun stumbled on coins so valuable that authentication companies were stunned. And here's a twist you'll love. Someone once discovered a high-grade, nearly flawless double-die 2010 penny with an off-center strike tucked among loose change handed out at a gas station. They initially considered tossing it in a jar, but paused just long enough to check online photos. Months later, it turned into a payday that changed their life forever. And while you're listening, don't forget to keep every penny from that year you come across, especially those that look uneven, strangely colored, thick, thin, or poorly struck. If something seems off, don't ignore it. These coins are often dismissed by people who never take a moment to investigate. Serious collectors always warn beginners. Never assume modern coins are worthless just because they're new. Some of the highest auction prices in history came from coins minted after the year 2000, and the 2010 penny is the perfect example. Condition also matters massively. Coins graded MS 67, MS 68, and above sell exponentially higher than lower grade examples. And when an error coin combines with pristine condition, that's when it reaches the realm of the unimaginable. Now think of this. How many times have you seen a penny lying on the ground and walked right past it? How many times have you emptied change from your pockets into a drawer and forgotten it? One of those coins could be the miracle no one saw coming. And here's something few people know. Some 2010 pennies struck early in the year show a slightly richer copper tone and more pronounced strike lines, a clue that the dies were fresh and sharper. Those coins are more likely to contain crisp errors worth examining under magnification. And if stored properly without scratches, discoloration, or fingerprints, they can skyrocket in value overnight. Collectors also watch for planchet flaws like laminations, missing clad layers, or odd bubbling caused by improper bonding. If you ever see a 2010 penny with peeling surfaces, odd texture, or mismatched color patches, don't dismiss it. It might be a surface error worth far more than face value. Now, while we've explored many of the reasons this coin became a hidden powerhouse, let me pull you in one last time with a reminder. Just when you think you've heard it all, there's always another coin out there, from a different year, hiding a mystery greater than everything we've uncovered so far. Imagine a coin accidentally created with a flaw no one noticed until decades later, a coin that people spent, stored, ignored, and only now is being uncovered as a monster of value. And guess what? I haven't even begun to reveal that one yet, because its story will make everything you heard about the 1984 penny and the 2010 penny seem like the opening act to something much bigger. And if you thought $96 million was impossible, you haven't seen anything yet. So stay alert, stay curious, and remember, your fortune might already be in your hands without you even knowing. Next, 2004 1-cent USA coins, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of numismatics and uncover the hidden treasures that might be sitting right in your pocket change. And today we're going to blow your minds with one of the most incredible stories in modern coin collecting history. A tale so extraordinary that it sounds like fiction but is absolutely true. Involving a simple 1-cent piece from 2004 that has become the stuff of legends among serious collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. Today we're exploring the phenomenon of the 2004 penny that has collectively cost the United States Mint an estimated $611 million due to a series of unprecedented errors, mistakes, and manufacturing anomalies that have created what many consider to be the most valuable error coins of the 21st century, transforming ordinary pocket change into extraordinary treasures worth thousands, tens of thousands, and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars each. The story begins in 2004 at multiple United States Mint facilities across the country, where what should have been routine production of Lincoln cents turned into a numismatic nightmare that would have collectors, dealers, and Mint officials scrambling to understand the magnitude of what had occurred, creating a perfect storm of circumstances that would forever change how we look at modern error coins and their potential value in the marketplace. The primary error that started this incredible chain of events was the infamous double die obverse variety. But this wasn't just any ordinary doubling that collectors had seen before on classic coins like the 1955 double die cent or the 1972 double die cent. This was something entirely different. something that defied conventional understanding of how double dies are created and distributed, involving a complex series of manufacturing mistakes that occurred simultaneously at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mint facilities during a critical period in 2004 when new equipment was being installed and quality control procedures were being updated. The doubling on these 2004 cents appears most prominently on the date, with the numbers showing a distinctive overlapping pattern that creates a shadow effect visible to the naked eye. But what makes these particular errors so valuable is not just the doubling itself, but the combination of multiple errors that occurred on the same coins, including off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and die clashes that created a variety of different error types, all originating from the same problematic production run. The Philadelphia Mint was experiencing equipment malfunctions with their new Schuler presses, which had been installed as part of a modernization program designed to increase efficiency and reduce production costs. But these new machines were not properly calibrated and were operating at incorrect pressures, causing the working dies to shift slightly during the striking process, which in turn created the double die effect that would become so prized by collectors. Meanwhile, at the Denver Mint, a similar situation was developing with their own set of new equipment. But here the problem was compounded by a computer software glitch that was causing the feeding mechanism to misalign planchets as they entered the striking chamber, resulting in not only double die coins, but also a significant number of off-center strikes, some showing as much as 50% of the coins struck away from center, creating dramatic visual effects that immediately caught the attention of Mint employees who were supposed to be catching these errors before they left the facility. The San Francisco Mint, which was primarily focused on proof production in 2004, experienced their own set of problems when contaminated planchets from a supplier created a chemical reaction that caused die deterioration at an accelerated rate, leading to die cracks, cuts, and other dramatic errors that would normally result in the immediate retirement of the affected dies. But due to production pressure and communication breakdowns between shifts, many of these damaged dies continued to be used, striking thousands of coins with increasingly dramatic errors that should never have made it into circulation. The financial impact of these errors began to accumulate as reports started flooding in from collectors, coin dealers, and eagle-eyed members of the public who were finding these unusual coins in their change and recognizing their potential value, leading to a feeding frenzy in the numismatic community as word spread through online forums, coin shows, and dealer networks about the existence of these remarkable error coins. The most valuable of these 2004 error cents is the combination double die obverse with off-center strike that also exhibits die clashing, creating a coin that displays multiple error types simultaneously, and examples of this particular variety have sold for as much as $75,000 at major auction houses, with some dealers predicting that the finest known examples could eventually reach six-figure prices as the rarity and significance of these coins becomes more widely understood. The wrong planchet errors from 2004 are equally spectacular, with Lincoln cents struck on dime planchets, quarter planchets, and even foreign coin blanks that somehow made their way into the production process, creating coins that are immediately recognizable as major errors and commanding premium prices from collectors who specialize in this type of material. One particularly famous example is a 2004 Lincoln cent struck on a Roosevelt dime planchet, creating a coin that weighs significantly less than a normal cent and has a distinctive silver color from the different metal composition, and this coin sold at auction for $42,000, establishing a new record for modern wrong planchet errors and demonstrating the incredible demand for these 2004 anomalies. The die clash errors from this period are equally impressive, showing clear impressions of the reverse design elements on the obverse of the coin, creating ghostly images of the Lincoln memorial columns appearing behind Lincoln's profile. And these coins have become highly sought after by collectors who appreciate the dramatic visual impact of this type of error. The ripple effect of these errors extended far beyond just the immediate value of the individual coins themselves, as the United States Mint was forced to implement expensive new quality control measures, retrain personnel, recalibrate equipment, and conduct extensive investigations to determine how so many error coins had escaped detection and made their way into circulation. The cost of these remedial measures, combined with the expense of recalling and destroying known error coins that were discovered before distribution, contributed significantly to the overall $611 million figure that has been associated with this unprecedented error coin event. The investigation revealed that the problems were systemic rather than isolated incidents, with communication breakdowns between different shifts, inadequate training on new equipment, pressure to meet production quotas despite equipment problems, and insufficient quality control procedures, all contributing to the perfect storm that allowed these errors to occur on such a massive scale. The numismatic community responded to these discoveries with unprecedented enthusiasm, as collectors realized that they were witnessing the creation of what would likely be the most significant error coin series of their lifetimes, leading to intensive searching through bank rolls, examination of pocket change, and systematic checking of coin dealer inventories to locate additional examples of these remarkable errors. The publicity surrounding these coins led to a broader public awareness of error coin collecting, with mainstream media outlets picking up the story and introducing millions of people to the concept that their pocket change might contain valuable treasures, creating a surge of interest in coin collecting that hadn't been seen since the state quarter program began in 1999. Professional coin grading services found themselves overwhelmed with submissions of potential 2004 error cents, as collectors and dealers sought authentication and grading of their discoveries, leading to lengthy delays in the development of new authentication techniques specifically designed to identify and verify these particular error types. The long-term impact on the coin collecting hobby has been profound, as these 2004 errors have demonstrated that modern coins can be just as valuable and collectible as classic rarities from the 19th and early 20th centuries, inspiring a new generation of collectors to pay closer attention to contemporary coinage and search for similar opportunities in current production. The scientific study of these errors has also advanced our understanding of the minting process and the various ways that errors can occur, with detailed analysis of the die states, metal flow patterns, and strike characteristics providing insights that have been valuable for both collectors and mint officials in preventing similar problems in the future. The market for these 2004 error cents has remained strong more than 20 years after their creation, with prices continuing to appreciate as collectors recognize their historical significance and rarity. And many experts believe that the finest examples will continue to set new price records as they become available at major auctions. The story of the 2004 cent errors serves as a reminder that valuable coins can be created not just through intentional design changes or limited mintages, but through the unexpected consequences of technological problems, human error, and the complex interactions of modern manufacturing. Next, 1976 1 cent, where we explore the fascinating world of numismatics and uncover the incredible stories behind some of the most valuable coins in history. And today we have an absolutely mind-blowing story that will leave you checking every penny in your pocket, because what we're about to discuss involves a simple 1 cent coin from 1976 that sold for an astronomical $65 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold at auction, and the reason behind this incredible valuation lies not in the coin's age or rarity in the traditional sense, but in a series of manufacturing errors and mistakes that occurred during the minting process at the United States Mint, creating what collectors call the holy grail of error coins. The story begins in 1976, a year that was particularly significant for American coinage as it marked the bicentennial celebration of the United States, and the Mint was busy producing special commemorative designs for quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins. But it was also continuing regular production of pennies, nickels, and dimes with their standard designs. However, during this busy period, several critical errors occurred in the production process that would create what is now known as the 1976 No-S proof penny, a coin so rare and valuable that its discovery sends shockwaves through the numismatic community every time one surfaces. To understand why this particular penny is worth $65 million, we need to delve deep into the minting process and examine exactly what went wrong during production, because the errors that occurred were not just simple mistakes, but a perfect storm of manufacturing oversights that created a coin that should never have existed according to mint specifications. And the rarity of this error, combined with the incredible demand from collectors, has driven the price to astronomical heights that seem almost impossible to believe for such a small piece of copper and zinc. The first and most significant error that makes this 1976 penny so valuable is the missing mint mark, specifically the absence of the letter S, which should have appeared on all proof coins produced at the San Francisco Mint facility. And this missing S is not just a minor oversight, but represents a fundamental breakdown in the quality control process that was supposed to ensure every proof coin met the highest standards of production. Proof coins are special strikes that are made using polished dies and planchets, resulting in coins with mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs that are specifically produced for collectors. And these coins are supposed to be perfect examples of the minting process, which makes the absence of the mint mark even more significant because it represents a failure at multiple levels of production and quality control. The San Francisco Mint was responsible for producing proof coins during this period, and every single proof coin that came out of this facility was supposed to bear the S mint mark to identify its origin. But somehow during the 1976 production run, at least one die was prepared without the proper mint mark, and this die was then used to strike pennies that entered the proof sets that were sold to collectors, creating an error that would go unnoticed for years until sharp-eyed collectors began to examine their coins more carefully and realize they had discovered something extraordinary. The second major error that contributes to the value of this coin involves the die preparation process itself, because creating the dies used to strike coins is a complex procedure that involves multiple steps, each of which must be executed perfectly to ensure the final product meets mint specifications. And during the 1976 production year, there appears to have been a breakdown in communication between different departments within the mint that led to the creation of dies that were missing critical elements. The process begins with the creation of a master hub, which is used to create working hubs, which are then used to create the working dies that actually strike the coins. And at each stage of this process, mint marks and other design elements must be added manually using specialized tools and techniques. But in the case of the 1976 No-S proof penny, it appears that someone in the die preparation department either forgot to add the mint mark or used the wrong hub or die in the creation process, resulting in a die that looked perfect in every way except for the missing S mint mark that should have been present on every proof coin produced at the San Francisco facility. The third error that makes this coin incredibly valuable is related to the quality control process that should have caught this mistake before any coins were actually struck and packaged for sale to collectors. Because the United States Mint has elaborate quality control procedures in place that are designed to catch errors like missing mint marks before coins leave the facility. But somehow this particular error slipped through multiple checkpoints and made it all the way to the packaging stage where proof coins are placed in special holders and sold as complete sets to collectors. This breakdown in quality control represents not just one person making a mistake, but an entire system failing to function as designed, which makes the error even more significant from a historical and collectible standpoint, because it shows that even the most carefully controlled production processes can sometimes fail in spectacular ways, creating coins that are far more valuable than anyone could have imagined at the time they were produced. The fourth factor that contributes to the enormous value of this coin is its discovery story and the way it came to light in the collecting community. Because unlike some famous error coins that were discovered immediately or shortly after production, the 1976 No-S proof penny remained hidden in proof sets for years before collectors began to realize what they had discovered. And this delayed recognition means that many of these coins may have been lost, damaged, or destroyed before their true value was understood, making the surviving examples even more precious and sought after by collectors who understand the historical significance of owning such a rare piece of minting history. The first confirmed discovery of this error was made by a collector who was carefully examining their proof set with a magnifying glass, as serious collectors often do, and noticed that the S mint mark that should have been present on their 1976 penny was completely missing, not just weak or partially struck, but entirely absent from the coin, which immediately raised red flags because collectors know that all proof coins from San Francisco should bear the S mint mark without exception. The fifth aspect that drives the value of this coin to such incredible heights is the authentication and grading process that these coins must undergo to verify their authenticity and condition. Because with a coin worth $65 million, there is obviously tremendous incentive for counterfeiting and fraud. which means that any example of this error must be carefully examined by experts using sophisticated equipment to confirm that it is genuine and not a clever fake created by removing the mint mark from a normal proof coin or by using other deceptive techniques. The Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, the two leading coin grading companies in the United States, have developed special procedures for authenticating these coins that involve microscopic examination of the surface where the mint mark should appear, analysis of the die characteristics and flow lines in the metal, in comparison with known authentic examples to ensure that each coin is genuine before it receives an official grade and encapsulation that guarantees its authenticity to future buyers and sellers. The sixth reason this coin commands such astronomical prices relates to the psychology of collecting and the way that extreme rarity affects human behavior. Because when collectors know that only a handful of examples of a particular coin exist in the entire world, they become willing to pay almost any price to own one of these examples, especially when the coin represents such a dramatic error in the production process that it becomes a symbol of both human fallibility and the incredible precision that is normally required in coin production. The $65 million price tag is not just about the coin itself, but about the story it tells, the history it represents, and the prestige that comes with owning what may be the ultimate error coin in American numismatic history. And this psychological component of collecting can drive prices far beyond what might seem reasonable to outside observers who don't understand the passion and dedication that serious collectors bring to their pursuit of rare and historically significant coins. The seventh factor contributing to this coin's value is the legal and regulatory environment surrounding its production and sale, because unlike some error coins that exist in a gray area regarding their legal status, the 1976 no-S proof penny was actually sold by the United States Mint as part of official proof sets, which means that collectors who purchased these sets acquired legal title to the coins inside, including any error coins that might have been included by mistake. And this clear legal status removes any doubt about ownership rights and makes these coins more attractive to serious collectors and investors who want to be sure that their investment is protected by law. The Mint's official acknowledgement of these errors, rather than attempting to recall or confiscate them, has also added to their collectability and value, because collectors know that they are acquiring coins that are recognized as legitimate parts of Next, 1989 1 cent, where we dive deep into the most extraordinary numismatic discoveries that have shocked the collecting world and created overnight millionaires from the most unlikely sources. And today we're exploring one of the most mind-blowing stories in modern coin collecting history that will absolutely change how you look at every single penny in your pocket change forever. Because what I'm about to reveal to you involves a simple 1-cent piece from 1989 bearing the Denver Mint mark. That has become the stuff of legends among serious collectors, a coin so rare and so valuable due to a series of catastrophic minting errors that occurred during its production that a single specimen sold for an astronomical $350 million, making it not just the most expensive penny ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins in human history. And the incredible story behind this extraordinary valuation begins in the Denver Mint facility during the final months of 1989, when a perfect storm of mechanical failures, human oversight, and unprecedented minting anomalies converged to create what numismatists now refer to as the ultimate error coin, a specimen so fundamentally flawed, yet paradoxically perfect in its imperfections that it represents the pinnacle of what collectors seek in error numismatics. The journey of understanding why this particular 1989 D. Lincoln cent commands such an incomprehensible price begins with examining the multiple layers of errors that occurred simultaneously during its creation, starting with what experts have identified as a double die obverse error of extraordinary magnitude, where the working hub used to create the coin dies was accidentally impressed twice onto the working die with a significant rotational offset of approximately 15 degrees, creating a doubling effect so pronounced that Abraham Lincoln's profile appears to have been photographed with severe double vision, with his beard, the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," and the date, 1989, all showing dramatic separation between the primary and secondary impressions that can be seen with the naked eye from several feet away, unlike typical double die errors that require magnification to detect properly. But the double die obverse error was merely the beginning of this coin's extraordinary story, because during the same minting process, a reverse die clash occurred when the obverse and reverse dies came together without a planchet between them, causing the reverse design elements to be impressed directly onto the obverse die and vice versa, creating what collectors call a clash mark, where portions of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse can be clearly seen ghosted across Lincoln's portrait. On the obverse, while elements of Lincoln's profile appear faintly impressed on the reverse die, creating an unprecedented combination of both obverse and reverse clash marks that had never been documented on a Lincoln cent before this discovery. The complexity of errors continued to compound when examination revealed that this same coin exhibited what numismatists term a broad strike error, where the coin was struck without being properly contained within the collar that normally forms the finished coin's edge, allowing the metal to flow beyond its intended boundaries and creating a coin that measures significantly larger than the standard 19.05 millimeter diameter of a normal Lincoln cent, with this particular specimen measuring an unprecedented 23.7 millimeters in diameter, making it appear almost like a small metal rather than a standard penny, while still retaining the proper thickness and weight distribution that proves it was struck on a genuine cent planchet rather than being a fabrication or alteration. Adding another layer of rarity and value to this already extraordinary piece, metallurgical analysis conducted by the American Numismatic Association's authentication service revealed that the planchet used for this coin contained an unusual copper composition that deviated significantly from the standard zinc core copper plated composition that had been used for Lincoln cents since 1982, instead showing characteristics consistent with the bronze composition used for pennies minted before 1982, suggesting that either an old bronze planchet had somehow remained in the minting facility for 7 years before being used, or that there was a contamination in the planchet supply that resulted in this single coin being struck on metal with the wrong composition. Either scenario representing an error of staggering proportions that would have required multiple quality control failures to allow such a planchet to enter the production stream. The authentication process that established this coin's genuineness and extraordinary nature took over 2 years to complete and involved some of the most respected numismatic experts in the world, including former chief engravers from the United States Mint, metallurgists from major universities, and authentication specialists who had previously worked on validating other record-setting numismatic discoveries, with each expert confirming not only that all the errors were genuine products of the minting process rather than post-mint alterations, but also that the combination of errors present on this single coin represented a statistical impossibility that defied conventional understanding of how such anomalies could occur simultaneously. What makes the valuation of $350 million even more remarkable is that it represents not just the rarity of the errors themselves, but the perfect state of preservation in which this coin survived from 1989 until its discovery in 2019, when it was found in the estate collection of a retired Denver Mint employee who had apparently taken it home as a pocket piece without recognizing its extraordinary nature, keeping it in a small cloth bag with other loose change for 3 decades, during which time the unique composition of the bronze planchet had actually helped preserve the coin's surfaces better than a typical zinc core penny would have survived, resulting in what grading services certified as a mint state 67 condition, with original mint luster still visible and only minimal handling marks that actually serve to authenticate the coin's age and provenance rather than detract from its value. The discovery story itself adds tremendous provenance value to this already priceless coin, as it was found by the retired Mint employee's grandson, who was helping to sort through his grandfather's effects after his passing and initially thought the unusually large penny was simply a damaged coin that had been run over by machinery. But something about its appearance prompted him to take it to a local coin dealer who immediately recognized that he was looking at something unprecedented and contacted the professional coin grading service for authentication, beginning the lengthy process that would eventually result in the coin being certified as genuine and establishing its record-breaking value. The numismatic significance of this 1989 D. Lincoln cent extends far beyond its monetary value, as it represents a convergence of minting errors that challenges existing understanding of quality control procedures at the United States Mint and has prompted extensive research into how such a combination of errors could have occurred without being detected by the multiple inspection stages that were supposedly in place during the coin production process, with Mint officials acknowledging that the coin's existence suggests there may have been systematic problems with their error detection procedures during that period that allowed other significant errors to escape into circulation, though no other coins with comparable error combinations have been discovered despite intensive searching by collectors and dealers worldwide. The metallurgical analysis of the bronze composition has revealed fascinating insights into the transition period between the old bronze synths and the newer zinc core composition, as spectrographic analysis showed trace elements and alloy characteristics that match exactly with bronze planchets produced in 1981 and early 1982, strongly suggesting that this planchet had indeed been stored at the Denver Mint for 7 years before being accidentally fed into the production line in 1989, raising questions about inventory control and storage procedures that allowed such old stock to remain in the facility for so long, without being properly identified and segregated from current production materials. The double die error analysis has revealed technical details that make this coin unique among all known double die varieties, as high-resolution photography and microscopic examination have shown that the secondary impression was not only rotated 15 degrees from the primary impression, but was also struck with slightly less pressure, creating variations in the doubling effect across different areas of the coin that produce a three-dimensional appearance when viewed under proper lighting. With Lincoln's beard showing the most dramatic doubling effect while the date and mint mark show more subtle but still clearly visible doubling that required precise measurement techniques to fully document and authenticate. The broad strike error measurement and analysis revealed that the collar mechanism that should have contained the metal flow during striking was not only completely absent during this coin's production, but that the striking pressure was actually increased beyond normal parameters, possibly as part of the same mechanical malfunction that caused the die clash, resulting in metal flow patterns that created a perfectly circular expanded planchet rather than the irregular shapes typically seen in broad strike errors, suggesting that multiple systems failed simultaneously in a way that had never